So it's Wednesday, the 31st of August, and it's Sacred Segments. And I'm with Anna Pavlakis, my soul sister.
Aw.
Yeah, good to see you, Anna. And
Aw.
we always have so much to talk about, so it's always good to connect with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Um, I have a question that I'm going to ask,
Okay.
and I'm going to answer it first. Okay. Um, my question is, what gets you truly excited about life?
Hmm.
Okay. And for me, it's seeing new places, um, exploring creativity, both in a spiritual setting, in a group, and personally. Um, Also, feeling connected to other people. That's what gets me truly excited about life, like feeling a connection with someone, and that feeling of family, which I've never really had since I was younger, because I felt disconnected from my family. Um, Also, nature, of course, um, intimacy, and just great art. Like when it hits the sweet spot and it like arouses something in you, and you're like, wow, it's almost like a divine connection. It's like it
Mm,
touches something in your soul.
mm,
So those are the things
mm.
that gets me excited about life. Of course, music, because you know I'm very into music in all its forms. But how about you? What is it that gets you excited about life?
The thing I think that most that I get this exhilaration, I guess is the right word, right?
Yeah,
Is when I'm exploring something or somewhere new.
yeah,
Um, One of, for me, the greatest pleasures of life, in if not in some ways the greatest, I mean, it's very joyful, is this getting on a train or a bus or a plane, um, going somewhere new that I've never been to before, especially if it's something that kind of gets me a little bit out of my comfort zone.
yeah.
Because especially if I'm traveling alone,
Mhm.
um, so it doesn't have to be far away, but any time that I get to get on some kind of vehicle and go somewhere that I've never been to before and explore is extremely exhilarating and joyful for me. But I could also then maybe apply that to inner inner worlds, exploring inner worlds, um, spiritual journeying, right? Shamanic journeying. And then when I get to do that in my work, that is extremely, it's very, very exciting and satisfying for me. And the exhilaration I feel after I do a session for somebody
Mhm.
is I always feel like I'm just like,
Like buzzing,
oh, totally. I'm high.
electrified.
I'm high. Like
Yeah, yeah.
don't need drugs. Like
Wow, wow.
yeah, I
That's
don't,
so
yeah,
cool.
I feel like I never feel tired after doing a session. I always
Yes,
feel buzzed.
I
So
know
that,
exactly what you
so
mean.
like discovery, exploration, new things, um, and um like you were saying, like meeting new people, like true soul connections that you make with
Yeah.
people, and also just exploring, like you meet certain people when you talk with them, like you can have like creative bouncing around of ideas.
Mhm.
um like my I call her my dead friend Josephine. she, that's what she is,
Yes.
but she in spirit she thinks it's really funny that I call her my dead friend Josephine. She gets a kick out of that. I know she does. But she and I, like when we would get together when she was alive, we would like just be very creative together, and it was very stimulating. So yeah, I think it's interesting because today I was thinking about talking about the second chakra
Oh,
and all
wow.
that, and which is all about creativity and creative expression, right? So for me, things that stimulate the second chakra, all that kind of stuff, emotion stuff, creativity, is exciting.
Now, is the second chakra the spleen center or
It's
the solar plexus?
it's below the solar plexus,
Below the
the
spleen,
navel, like the navel.
the navel. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is it called?
The second one,
Yeah.
Sava Sat. I don't remember the name in
Oh,
Sanskrit.
that's the Indian name, but like, is there another sort of like a Western version or?
No, we just call it the sacral chakra.
Okay, I've heard it referred to as the spleen center, but I might be getting confused.
Where's
Because I'm in the healing modality that I
where's the
was
spleen?
trained in. Well, we kind of like access it through the front and the side, and I'm
Okay.
wondering whether that's the same chakra.
Difference probably is.
Yeah,
Probably
but
is.
Is it just below the navel?
Hmm.
Right, right.
Yeah, it's like where a woman's womb would be.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that that was creativity. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Yeah, because I know that when I feel emotional pain, I feel it around that area, and
Interesting.
higher. Well, I feel it in all my chakras actually. You know, but particularly that down there, like around the stomach area, like somebody's kicked me in the heart and you know, the guts. I really feel it. Very sensitive in that way.
And yeah, a lot of people have blockages there. You know, the lower chakra, especially spiritual people.
Right.
We tend to be blocked in the lower chakras and have the upper ones very open.
Yes.
And there's like a disconnect,
Like
you know?
yeah, divide. Like I feel like I've lived most of my life in these upper chakras, and like down there always felt like scary, dirty.
And that's why it's hard to manifest. Because in order to manifest, they all have to be working together. They all have to be open. They all have to be balanced. Because you can't manifest anything without roots.
That makes so much sense to me. Wow. You know, I have a question. Just for anybody that's watching, just quickly explain what it is that you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I move energy. That's what I do in many ways. I do it through my own soul's interpretation of shamanic healing, which is a specific way of doing it that I channeled back in 2011. It was just given to me out of the blue, and I've been taught from spirit how to do what I do. Spirit has trained me. So I do shamanic healing, coaching, and packages of sessions. So it's all about having real transformation in your life in every aspect. So I do that. And in addition, I do feng shui. But I also, when I do feng shui, I do it very much from a shamanic perspective. So I do Tibetan, pre-Buddhist, shamanic tradition feng shui.
So cool.
And yeah, and I'm a spiritual coach. Yeah, so when I do healing sessions, they're usually quite long, 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
And in the session, we spend like the first part of it basically just talking, and it's like kind of like therapy in a way.
Yeah.
And a lot of energy gets moved just through the talking, and things start happening before the session. Actually, as soon as the client makes their appointment, it's like a spiritual contract is made, and my guides start working on the client, and they'll often notice a lot of shifts like within the week before the session, or from the minute they decide they want to work with me, things start to change. Like they'll feel calmer, or they'll feel maybe agitated, like, oh, things are happening, or, you know,
make an energetic connection with
yes.
Right?
Well, I don't, like, my guides are working.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so the spirits are working with them. It's like they're like doing all the groundwork.
I have a question. It's about entities. like spirit attachments.
Mm.
Like, because you were talking about the lower chakras, and like I think that that's where they get through, right? Not just anywhere. I mean, not just there. I suppose they can
No,
get anywhere
anywhere.
where there's
Anywhere
a
there's a
tear,
hole in your aura.
where there's a
Yeah.
hole, right, in your aura. So obviously, it comes from trauma, abuse, all of that kind of stuff. Um, uh, but how do you get rid of them?
Well, they come in primarily through fear. When you're in a
Right.
state of fear or any kind of lower energy, but in my opinion, every if you boil it down to its essence,
Excuse me.
all negative energy, all lower energy is rooted in fear. It's just different forms of fear,
Right.
right? Which is the
Do you
first
believe?
chakra.
Do you believe the first chakra being the base chakra,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Which
because
is
that's your
also
foundation. It's your sense of safety.
and it's also the sex center, right?
No, that's the second,
Oh, the second.
right? So the
Okay.
first is your roots, your foundation, your sense of safety in the world.
Okay.
So if that is attacked in any way, or if that's affected in any way through trauma, through abuse, rape, any sense of danger, or, childhood problems with your family, if you don't feel safe in your family, right? Lots of people don't. Um, and you're in a sense of fear, or you feel like your the way you earn a living is going to be taken away, right? So they get in through fear in general. Okay, when you're in a lowered vibrational state, when you're in a state of fear, boom, it can attack like that.
Can it be not just fear, but also kind of like low frequency stuff? Like,
Yeah, but what I'm saying is low frequency stuff is really fear in some form.
right.
Okay, it's like what I'm saying, its essence is fear. There's
I
like two things, love and fear.
got you. I understand.
Yeah.
So
So
how do you clear them? Just simply by raising the frequency, by
no,
raising the
no.
no.
No, it's a lot of people think that it's like this simple thing, like, oh, you just say, oh, I'm clearing myself. No, it's actually really, in my opinion, you need a shaman. Okay, a shamanic exorcist is really the kind of person, somebody who's trained and knows how to remove them, like me. Like I'm someone who knows how to remove them safely, because a lot of you might be able to get rid of like smaller ones, but there are different procedures for doing it. There's different protocol, different, I have the various ways that I've learned how to do it. I know a bunch of different ways of doing it. Um, but they're not going to just leave by themselves. They're not going to leave if you burn some sage. A lot of people think, oh, if I burn sage, no, no. But one thing that somebody who isn't a shaman or isn't practiced at doing this, one thing that everybody could do is call on Archangel Michael. Okay, that's quite, he could be quite powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you call on Archangel Michael, but make sure that it's actually Archangel Michael, because a lot of times, especially if you're in a state of fear, if you're in any kind of lower state, right?
Yeah.
And you call on something, imposters can come through. All right, they're
So,
fourth
so,
dimensional beings or dark entities that masquerade or pretend to be, and they're
right.
false.
So
So
somebody like me that has called on Archangel Michael, I've felt his energy. I imagine that I could still be tricked,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
Into
I've been, I've
it,
been, oh
right.
yeah, I know this from experience. Like I've learned this the hard way. So what I do, especially if I'm channeling, in
Yeah.
particular if I'm channeling, if I'm doing like my sessions or whatever, I already have set up sacred space and the whole thing is protected and blah blah blah. And I've gone into meditation and I'm in, it's always very safe. But like if I'm channeling, I always call in, I say Archangel Michael of the highest light.
Beautiful.
Okay. And then I interview them.
Can we do it now?
Sure. You want to do? I'll show you the way I do it.
Yeah.
Pretending that like.
Okay. I'm like right with you, supporting you energetically, and
Okay.
like opening myself up and asking the same thing.
Now, okay, I think we need to be clear. What is our intention with calling in Archangel Michael right now? What are we going to do? Do you want me to channel him?
I would like to call on him so that our time together and this whole session is made the highest vibrational healing possible.
Okay.
So that there is authentic truth spoken and that all lies and lower frequencies be banished.
Okay. Okay. Um,
or anything that masquerading as
right.
light
Okay.
not be present.
So I'm just gonna I never do anything with the script, so I'm just gonna just do something. Okay. So let's close our eyes. Take some breaths. Aligning with our center. And let's start by calling forth our mighty I am presence, our higher self, our divine self, our sovereign selves. Good. And now I call forth Archangel Michael of the highest light to come and please be with us now. Archangel Michael, Archangel Michael, Archangel Michael. Please come here to us now.
Also for our spaces and for our loved ones to extend this energy to.
Well, we have to be careful with loved ones because we need their permission.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't just do things. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So first I call in Archangel Michael. Now I ask Archangel Michael to please surround this meeting, this sacred segment meeting, with, I'm seeing a dome of golden light.
I can see it too.
Please surround us with divine protection so that anyone participating in this meeting now or in the future be fully and completely protected and surrounded with light. May everything in this meeting be of the highest light for the highest good of all beings. May no lower frequency energies be permitted into this space that we are creating. No lower energetic, no false light beings, no imposters.
I agree.
Something, yeah. Any false light beings that are trying to masquerade as beings of light, please leave this space. Archangel Michael, please escort any lower energy beings, false light beings, out of this sacred space. Oof. I burp a lot, sorry.
I could feel them before both of those burps. I could feel these low frequency beings around. Just want to say that out loud. I'm also visualizing violet flame to surround this space and also your space, to transmute and protect us. these low frequencies.
Now I ask Archangel Michael for a cosmic blue dome of protection around us and around this space. And your blue shield armor of protection for each of us.
Beautiful.
And please cut any cords to lower energetic beings that are not of the highest light. Please cut all cords, all negative cords.
Visualizing those cords being cut now.
I'm actually seeing a lot in that second chakra area we were talking about. Oof.
Give me a shiver.
I'm seeing a cord in the third eye. Archangel Michael, please cut that cord. Remove these cords. Ugh.
I just want to let you know that my head shakes when I feel spiritual energy, so my head starts to move around.
Well, I have my eyes closed, so I don't know what you're doing.
That's okay. Letting you know.
Yeah, I used to sort of sway back and forth when I first started.
That's what's happening to me right now.
Yeah, good, it's working.
Yeah, I know that it's happening when I'm feeling that way, and I'm not doing it. I'm just in the energy.
What I'm doing right now is just I don't. This isn't really even something I control. This is just I just started doing this one day many years ago. Yeah. And I started doing this back in my feng shui training program, and I didn't know why. Because
I completely understand. I get it. Yeah.
I didn't know I was a shaman.
Right.
And,
I want to let you know also that I have my hands, my palms upturned on my knees with my feet flat on the ground, and that's creating a psychic circuit, and I'm visualizing white light, which is also kind of like electric blue, coming out of my palms, and I'm seeing lots of white light that's very bluish.
So all of these like energies that need to be transmuted are going up. I mean, it's hard for me to even say what I'm doing. I just do what I do.
I'm going to let in the guy that's waiting, but please continue.
Well, I'll just hold space because...
Okay, I'm going to talk to him and let him know what we're doing.
Yeah. I'm just going to hold space while you do that.
Okay. Thank you. Collins, Peters.
Hello.
He's sideways, but I can see him.
Oh, I'm sideways? Hold on.
I want to let you know that we're doing like some energy work, just clearing the space. And Anna, who's with us, is a shamanic practitioner, and she's just helping to clear energy right now, and then I'll come to you. It's so good to have you with us. Thank you. It'll just be a few more minutes. Please continue, Anna.
Yeah. So we have already created the sacred space, right? And now we're just filling it up with light, all the yucky stuff we've gotten rid of. Oh, almost all. Is it done? Yeah, it's done. There we go. So there you go, Alexis.
Thank you, Anna.
You're welcome.
Collins, I just want to ask, do I have your permission to record this session?
Absolutely.
I'm currently recording, but I can stop it if you want me to.
Oh, please record it.
Yeah?
Mhm.
Okay, great. Well, Anna and I were talking, and we started talking about clearing energy and clearing the lower frequencies that are around within ourselves, within our environment. And Anna does shamanic work and feng shui,
Mhm.
both physical and spiritual feng shui, right? Um, so it's good to have you on Sacred Segments, Collins. Do people call you Collins?
Yeah, that's pretty much. Most people call me Collins.
And what do you call yourself?
Me.
That's cool. That's cool. It's good to see you. I love the colours that you have behind you. What do they mean? What do they represent? Oh,
Oh,
it's Grenada.
Oh,
my
Grenada.
flag. Yeah.
Oh, you. Are you happy to talk about your segment now? To do your segment now? I wasn't sure how many people was going to join us, and even if it's just us, I think
Okay.
I'm surrendered to what is, and I think it's perfect. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we were just doing our thing.
yeah, we're doing our thing. So okay, so do you want me to spotlight you, or should we stay in this formation where we see each other like this?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's all good. We don't have to spotlight.
Okay,
This
cool.
you guys while I'm sharing. Yeah, and so I guess we could just talk about the main lesson that I wanted to share with people, which is basically how to have a conversation, how to connect to the Most High, how to connect with your higher self. Use that dialing system. When we're trying to tap into what we want in our lives, and it's it can be used for every situation that we're in, from small to big. It could be, should I turn left at this light, or should I, marry this person? Business, should I quit? Should I eat this donut? Should I order pad thai? Right. For anything that goes on in our life, any decision that we have in our life, we can always access our higher self. But as we know, we usually are living in this lower self, this brain and this body and things like that. But that's not what we are. That's not who we are. That's just something that we have. So we don't want to necessarily give access to decision making to something that doesn't even know the difference between reality and its own reality, right? But because we live in this world and we learn from being in this plane certain lessons on how to be human, and we're not taught higher vibrational ways of accessing how to be human. We're so connected in this matrix, right? We're so locked in here, and it compromises our experience in life. We make decisions that aren't for the betterment of us. We make decisions that compromise just the joy and the happiness that we can have, or just the smoothness. Like, life can go so smooth. It's not actually hard. People say life is hard. It's not. It's not actually hard. It's very simple. But if you're never taught how to add, 5 + 5 complicated and difficult, right? And that's basically the concept that we're never taught, is how do we talk to our higher selves? How do we communicate with our higher selves? Is there a strategy that we can use that's very easy? I had a spiritual awakening where I met the creator about 12 years ago, and he gave me this method. I mean, there's probably many methods you can use. It's just a simple method that you, when they are wanting to know, hey, what's best for me? What should I do? What should I do in this moment? And it's a 4-step process. It's called the authenticity test. And he said, hey, teach the people this if they want to, talk to me at any point in time. It's a simple process, and they can talk to me any day, and get guidance. I will say this, though, before we get into actually what it is, let's just slightly touch on why we don't, right? Because it's kind of like, hey, everybody knows how to be healthy, right? We eat healthy and you exercise. That's how we can, have our bodies work. But there's a lot of reasons why we don't do it. And so if we don't deal with those, then it doesn't matter how many trainers we get. It doesn't matter how much, prep meals that we buy, it's not going to make the difference. Right. So this is really about making the difference, not helping. Right. So just really quickly, there's a reason why we don't make decisions or we don't know how to talk to our higher selves. And it's because there's a game being played on earth. And the more that we stay on the lower vibrational things, because there are positive energies and negative energies. The more that we stay with the negative energies is the less that we get to ascend. Our purpose is to ascend and raise our vibration as we go through our life. Whether it's the first life, third life, 50th life, if you believe that, it doesn't make a difference, because the point is, even if it's one life, you can still raise your vibration to the highest level. But there are proponents that are established in this game that don't want you to do that. It makes the game more difficult, which makes the game interesting. Nobody wants to play a game that we can beat so easily every time. It gets boring. It's one of the reasons why being created beings into existence, to play this game high and low, forget that you're everything, and then become nothing, and then try to achieve everythingness. Right? So, there's God, there's the devil, there's positive energy, there's negative energy, there's the angels, there's demons. Whether people want to believe it or not, I give them the analogy. You cannot believe in a bullet, but if somebody shoots it at you, it's probably going to go through your flesh, right? So there are spiritual things. I know that every single human being out there that's watching this, that you have had some unexplainable experience that you've had at some point in time. And that experience, whether we, try to wipe it away out of fear, because we can't control it, we don't know what it is, it doesn't change what it is, whether we can accept it or not, right? So that the reason why we don't really live our highest experience is because the game, there are, if it's Mario, they're hammermen, there are mushroom people, there are King Koopas that are trying to make the game more difficult, and so that we can descend and stay on their level, right? As opposed to going up higher. And you get free will, so you get to choose. Right. So for those that want to choose to have an awesome experience in life and, a free experience in life, as opposed to a contained and obligatory life, we can use this basically superpower of obedience. And it sounds weird, right? If you want to have a free life, how do you use obedience to be free? Well, when we're kids, and for good kids, we listen to our parents, they might let us go play, ride the bike a little bit further down the block, right? But if we don't listen, and we know our parents who care for us and love us and know that if we don't listen, we're going to expose ourselves to more possible pain or kidnapping or whatever it is, they're not going to trust us to go. They don't want to let us go, further down the block because, hey, you might get kidnapped. Something might happen to you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
When you say obedience, do you mean how we have free will?
Yes.
I've often thought of this. Do you mean like giving up your free will and asking God, what is it that you want from me?
Close, but no. You're actually using your free will to ask God. You're not giving it up, right? So using our free will to ask God, what do you want from me? Because I know you know better. It's like I know you know better, right? So it's like if you want to get in shape, right, you might get a physical trainer, right? And you're not giving up your free will to do that extra rep that the trainer is telling you to do. What you're doing is you're accessing your free will to say, hey, I hired you. I want this result. Will you please help me get this result? Even when I'm like, no, my body might be saying no, but I want this result. My being, I want this experience.
So is it better to say I'm co-creating, like you're asking for co-creation with the divine?
Yes, you're connecting into the plan that you opted into and chose to have before you came to this earth. We have a plan, right? God has a plan for us, and we're part of that plan. We want it's good for us. It's not like.
Let me put it in a different way. Are you saying that you're asking to access your divinity?
Yes. You're literally trying to, hey, I forgot. What do I want out of this thing? Oh, what I want, right? I'm remembering, right?
I got you.
Because if we didn't have negative experiences, we wouldn't realize, oh, there's a different experience that I can have out of alignment from what it is that I actually came here to do or came here to experience.
Right.
The type of beings that we are, experiential beings. That's the type. Like if there's a phylum chordata, right? We are experiential beings. We don't come back with anything from our flesh. We come back with our experiences. That's when we go back to the other plane of existence and various planes of existence. We don't take our money. We don't take our friends. We don't take our family. We don't take our kids, right? What we take is our experiences. And so this allows us to access the highest possible gaming experience that we can while we're on this earth. If we don't, well, we could still be alive, but then we're going to have a low vibration. So you're playing the game of Mario, and then you keep on dying. Right? You keep on dying. You keep on losing. We hear that that music, and then we're sad and we're depressed. Right. So if you're sad, you're depressed, you're angry, you're frustrated. All of these fear-based vibrations, right? And you want to access happiness, joy, peace, calm, ecstasy. Laughter. You want that more. Then you have to do things that are in line with that, right? You have to do things that
you and I spoke, you spoke about the game. I asked you at the end of our conversation to finish with a prayer, which was beautiful, and you blessed us with that, and you mentioned the game, and that stuck with me, because I just wanted to question you just a little bit about that, just very quickly. And I'm sorry to interrupt your flow, but I think it's necessary for me to understand. Are you saying that we're in a matrix and that this is a game? Is that what you mean? Like, even though it's like our reality, is that what you mean?
Absolutely. This is this is a game. And of course, with a winner, you can lose, right? Just because it's a game doesn't minimize its value.
Validity.
Right?
Yeah.
It's still, it's the most awesome game created, right? It's the game of, I am everything. I'm bored with being everything. I'd like to create something so that I can be nothing and then become everything. I have to play the game of, can I get back here? Because if I'm everywhere, there's nowhere to go, right? So I'm going to create myself being somewhere over here. Now, for a while, that's fun, right? Like, oh, wow, I've never been somewhere before. And then eventually, it's like, okay, well, I'd like to get here. That's the game. Can I get from here to here, right? So, but then you do this. Like, this is not difficult, right? You got to go from here to here, here to here, here to here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put something in between here, so then I can maybe, do I have to jump? Do I try and go around? Do I try and poke through? What I do? I put an obstacle in between, right? And that makes the game more fun. And so the game gets more and more and more and more complicated till eventually you have, this version of life where you have, strife and struggle and trials and tribulations and anger and, disease and famine and all these things.
I have another question for you. I'm sorry to
apologize.
Okay, thank you. So this is my question. Am I you? Are you me? Are we each other? Just having an illusion of separateness?
Absolutely.
Right. I think that's true as well.
So I'll explain the mechanics, right, of how it actually works. So how that I am you, you are me, and everything works. I actually use that in some of my the greetings and like some of my webisodes that I give and seminars and things like that. I have a greeting that says Yamaye, right? You are me and I am you, right? And it's just a memory. It's like remembering what we are, who we are, how we are. So that you could use that as a greeting instead of hello, right? Which has hell in it, and there's spells, and people that know about metaphysics and spells and all this stuff, and our words and our frequency power. There's a reason why we have certain words in existence, and there's a reason why we stay in a certain, the majority of us. Right? So I use like you are me and I am you. Now the reason why and how that exists, right, and how that works for the science heads that are out there, we could use an example as the Higgs boson particle. Right. So the Higgs boson particle is also nicknamed the God particle. And it's a particle that these two guys, theorize that there's got to be something else. I mean, we've got protons, we've got neutrons, we've got electrons. We go down to the bare essentials of life. You got atoms, but then inside atoms are chemical elements, and then inside the elements there's certain atoms, and then you have inside the atoms there are these protons, neutrons, and electrons, right? And that's the basic building blocks that we see that life is. However, why is it still here? We know that there's dimensions. We know that there's planes, right? We know that there's something else going on. If you do quantum physics, there are things that are in existence that are in this place, but there are all another place at the exact same time. There's quantum entanglement. There's experiments that are done where they take one beam, one energy particle, and they put 3 slits down, and then they shoot it through one, and it'll come out on 2 sides, or it'll come out side and it'll come on this side. But they only shoot it through this side. Like, well, what is going on? Like, there's something else going on there. All right, there's these experiments and these things that are kind of giving glimpses into the fabric of our universe. However,
Matrix.
Yeah. So there's opportunities for us to see, okay, well, if we understand this, what's the purpose of understanding this, right? Well, why? What's the why in it? Well, the why is if you understand what's going on, then when things are going on, we don't get frustrated while things are going on. We don't get angry while things are going on. Things can go on. You could have, COVID, you could have monkeypox, you could have whatever new thing they want to release, right? And it doesn't have to ruin your day, right? It doesn't have to ruin your existence. There could be people dying. Your parents could have just got shot. Your kid could have just died of cancer. And imagine if you can be in that space and still have a positive experience, regardless of the turmoil that's going on around you. There are people who have survived like the worst experiences in life because of this mentality, right? Because of the understanding. There are people that, in the Holocaust, where that's a horrible experience that a human has to go through, right? And so they go through it, but how did they get through it? And a lot of the people that survived and still to this day are alive, they didn't die afterwards from PTSD, because sometime during that process, they accepted it.
You're reminding me of something that one of my therapists said to me, which is the most solid piece of advice that I've carried through the years, and that I still remind myself of every day, and that is be the observer. Be the observer. Yeah. That's what you're reminding me of.
Yeah, because the observer is what you are. We're not here, right? We're not here. It looks like we're here. It feels like we're here, but we're not here. Like we're here and 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 everywhere. Like it's like we're all looking down, on this really cool game, and then we get put on the VR set, right? And then the VR set projects us into this reality. And then, once we're down there, Mario can jump down. And of course, if you're super invested in the game, when Mario falls down, you're throwing the controller. You're like, man, this sucks, right? Because you forget that you're actually playing the game. That's how great this creation is. Like, it's so believable that this is what it is, and this is all that it is. That's how good it is. But of course, like any program that humans create, because we're just replicating what God does, is He creates glitches in the system. The glitches are there for a purpose, for us to remind ourselves, hey, this isn't all there is. Like, don't forget you're playing a game here. Right? Don't forget that the rules aren't what these people are telling you the rules are.
Right.
And do that, and the rules are, hey, when I'm stressed, I got to drink. If I'm upset or if I'm horny, I have to go find a random person to have sex with. Right? Well, can you have sex? Yeah. And it could be great. Can you have a drink? Yeah, and it could be great. But you got to make the right choice. And the right choice is going to be based on what is in your best interest. It has nothing to do with some outside rules. It's literally like, hey, if I came here to experience the experience of going super fast, like I want that experience of speed, and am I going to die? Am I not going to die? Am I going to die? Am I not going to die? Right? And then victory, overcoming adversity, right? That's the experience that I want. Well, how could that manifest? Well, I might be a Formula One race car driver. All right? That might be the game that I came here to play. And I'm using that vehicle to access that experience. I could do the exact same thing, maybe as an airplane pilot, right? I could do that exact same thing, maybe as a track athlete, right? So if I'm doing all of these things just to access the experience, if we remember that, then we have a different relationship to life. Because
So
then we're not attacked.
we have you were talking about the authenticity test, and
Yes.
so remind me, please. The first step is what?
The first step is to, all right, guys, write this down, and I'm gonna tell you what it is, and then I'm gonna give you the how to do it. Right. So the first step is to authentically ask a question out loud. Authentically ask a question out loud. Each one of these words are important, right? That's the first step. Authentically ask a question out loud. The second step is you're going to actively listen for an answer, right? The third step, we're going to, and I'm going to go back over it if you didn't catch it, right, whoever's writing, right? And the third step is to immediately state out loud what you heard. Immediately state out loud what you heard. And then the fourth step is to reflect on how it feels. Get present. All right? Reflect on how it feels. Get present. Now, going back to the first step, authentically ask a question out loud. Let's look at first how to authentically ask a question. We seldom, if ever, ask questions authentically. We usually ask questions rhetorically, hypothetically, sarcastically. These are all these other alleles that we ask questions, but we don't get the answers that we want most of the time because we are not asking authentically. Now, what does it mean to authentically ask a question? Is to ask a question, and this is what you guys can write in your notes, people at home. To authentically ask a question, you have to ask a question as if you do not know the answer. There's a reason why most of us, don't have a great connection with our higher selves and to the creator. There's a reason why. It's because if you are a divine being and you know that someone is not going to listen to the answer, are you going to waste your time talking? It's a waste. If you already know the outcome of this person listening to this answer is rejection, right? You're not going to waste your time. You don't need to. So it's like you're looking at a baby and the baby is just, crying about something and you see it bump its head into the thing. You're not going to feel sorry. Well, if you're being in your higher self, you're not going to feel sorry for that baby that bumped its head into something on purpose to get a reaction out of you. You're not going to respond, right? Because that's not going to feed that person. That's not going to feed that being. That's not going to benefit that baby. It's better for that baby to understand, okay, well, let me stop throwing temper tantrums. And then, I can come for daddy and mommy's help, right? So that's the first step. You got to authentically ask the question out loud. Now, here's a practice to start learning how to authentically ask questions, right? When you're practicing getting in the space of not asking a question to hear the answer that you want to hear, not asking a question to hear the validity of what you, or the confirmation of what you already think you know, but to ask the question as if you don't know. Here's a little warm up. You ask 3 questions that you don't know the answer to. So the 3 that I use, and you guys can make up your own, or you can use the exact ones that I use. How many drops of water are there in all of the oceans in the world? I don't know it. You don't know it. We can never find it out. It's practice. It's like warm up. You're gonna exercise. It's best to warm up. You don't want to tear something, right? You don't want to tear your whole reality. Right? So you ask, 3 questions, 3 warm-up questions. The second question I always ask is, hey, how many leaves are on that tree outside my window? All right. I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. All right. It's just warming it up. And the third one I ask is, what is the exact chemical composition of the couch that I'm sitting on? Or the couch over there? What's the exact chemical composition of those things? All right. I don't know. It's just warming up. All right. And so that will start to get you in that out of that brain muscle, right? And start warming up into that being muscle, because you're asking these questions the brain knows it doesn't know. I would recommend don't ask questions like, that you have some kind of knowledge of, right? Which is, well, what's the deal with space? All right? Because we think we know what's the deal with space. We think it's someplace out there. We think it's a vacuum. We think it's cold. We think maybe there's a firmament and we can't get to it. We think that maybe there isn't a firmament and we can't get to it and there are people in it. We have all these pre-existing thoughts, but we don't know, how much all of the sand weighs, in all the beaches in the world, right? So that gets us into that space. Now, the last part of that is to authentically ask the question, what? Out loud. right? And the reason why we do it out loud is because we're using the exact creation energy that was used to formulate the entire universe, which is word, sound, power, right? So we get it out of our minds, because when we're thinking and thinking and thinking, this is a supercomputer that God gave us. It's a supercomputer. It thinks so fast. We haven't even really created a computer that can mimic it. There's certain aspects that are faster, but there are other aspects that it just, like, no computers on Earth yet can actually duplicate the speed at which our mind works. So that's why we can get so much confusion when we're looking, going through life. What should I do? What should I not do? Should I do this? Should I do that? Right? And the shoulds, there are no should. For somebody, that might be the should might be, yes, I should, eat this cake. And there might be shoulds like, yes, I should point this gun and shoot this person. There are no absolute shoulds in life. The reason why we have certain guidelines, like if you look at like biblical principle, there's the 10 Commandments. The reason why we have these guidelines, because these are things that are better. They're for the betterment of all mankind. Right? If we're not lying, if we're not stealing, if we're not killing, but at the same time, this is what a lot of people have a problem with Bible with, is like, but then God will tell you, like, hey, go and kill everybody, every man, woman, and child, all the babies. If it's a baby, kill it. Why? Because they're all wicked, right? And then like, no, that's wrong. How could you be such a hypocrite? Like, no, you don't understand. Or like, what if everybody in that land is like, they're all murderers? Or should you just go and move in with them and then wait for you and your family to be murdered, right? So the morality is a structure of mankind that we don't really understand. We don't get it. There is a right and wrong somewhere in the universe. We just don't know it. The only thing that we can access is what's right for us. That's what
I ask you about the fourth element of get present. When you say get present, do you mean like focus only on the now without looking back or forward?
Well, you can look back. You will be looking back a millisecond before, right? Which is to what you just said, right? Yeah. And how it felt, right? So you're not going to be looking back, but you're getting present to what that feeling is. It's presence to the feeling. How does this feel, right? That's what you're getting present to. You can be, yes, I'm here, but you're not present to the feeling, right? So once you're present to the feeling of what you said, of the answer that you got, right? When you stated it out loud, then you're going to be able to tap into, is this a right turn or is this a left turn?
How do you know that you're not kidding yourself or fooling yourself?
Well, the easiest way is to remember. Every single time that you ever heard that voice and it told you to do something and you didn't, and you did something else and it worked out horribly, just remember that. The brain has a very short memory of all the things that it was wrong, but it remembers all the times that you were wrong.
So just before you came on, Anna was doing like an exercise where, not an exercise, and maybe like an invocation, to call on the Archangel Michael to help remove false light. Because I asked the question about like removing entities. Yeah, and how Archangel Michael can maybe sometimes appear, but it's not Archangel Michael. It could be it could be an imposter, right?
There are many false representations that are out there. As a matter of fact, just to be clear, and this is a gift to all divination people, and mediums and things like that. The majority of the time, if you're talking to an entity, the majority of the time you're actually talking to a fallen angel. Right? That's the majority of the time. There are few exceptions, but the majority of the time when you're connecting to someone or something, it's actually a fallen angel. It's a demon. It's a negative entity. It knows the things, right? Because these are higher beings. These are higher vibrational beings, right? Even though they're in a low vibration demon is higher than a high vibrational human on general.
Higher than us, because they've lived more.
They have the ability to manifest, demanifest. They're like, they're in that space, right? Doesn't mean that you can't whoop their asses. You can, right? But it's only going to be when you're accessing your divine power that you're kind of tapping in. You're tapping in to the higher self, and then you're like, oh, okay, you're not by yourself. It's like you're in a gang now, right? But the problem is that most of my people that are spiritually, activating, they get and
what? They get what?
and they start accidentally working with the negative side. Once they realize, oh, we're living a human life here, and then you raise it, oh, there's a spiritual realm. There's something going on, right? And there's like, which way do I go?
Your word cut out when you said it, and then it cut out again when you said it. So say it again.
They're working, man.
I know.
They don't want you guys to know this, because you guys are actually you're the beacons for humanity. You have getting taken to the enemy side, and mistakenly, I know your intention isn't to harm yourself or others, but they use the naivety that we have, because we're not taught this, right? We're taught to deny that any spiritual stuff exists. Then we're taught to only acknowledge one level of spirituality, which means that if God is real, the Abrahamic God is real, then all of those other gods are fake. But then there's all of this evidence for the other gods being real. There's all these people, right? Because the God is real. The problem is, there's the Most High God that created all of those gods that people are worshiping, right? And then there's these guys. But we start worshiping these guys because we see the works and the wonders and the things that they can do, and we forget there's a boss of them, right? But they don't want you to access the boss, because then they can have you do what they want, because they got beef with the boss. They got beef with the boss, right? And so, yeah, bro, Ganesh, Osiris, Oshun, all of these gods, Baal, Beelzebub, Thor, even, like, all of these gods do exist in some shape or form.
Sure.
Right? The problem is they're not on your side. That's the only issue. Now, when we're being with that, right? Just to be with that, like, okay, well, what does that do for me? Well, that gives us the opportunity to be like, okay, well, am I being used for something that I don't necessarily want to be used for?
I need to ask you another question.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in the past, I've always seen those elements of divinity as part of a picture of the whole. Okay, like you mentioned Oshun, you mentioned Ganesh. Like, I don't see them as separate from God. I just see them as like a part of a whole picture. Do you think that's? Do you think that's?
So there is a yes and a no to that, right? So the yes is, again, going back to the example of the Higgs boson particle. This is how everything in the world is in existence. I mean, I'm not talking about just the world, right? I'm talking about the entire universe and all the universes, all the planes. Inside every electron, proton, neutron, there's something that keeps it in the plane of existence. There is an element inside that, like inside the thing. Otherwise, it will just fizzle out. Like, why don't things, if these things just came into existence at some point, why don't they just fizzle out of existence? Because there's something in there. There's like a battery in there holding it. There's a microchip inside that's holding it. That battery, that microchip, that brain, right, that keeps that thing in existence is God. Right? So that's how, yes, in everything.
Somebody's joining us, so I'm going to let them in. Carry on.
Yeah, so that is how, yes, in everything, God is in everything, right? So they are a part of the whole. They're a part of the existence. Just like King Koopa is in the game of Mario Brothers, right? And just like the Hammer Bros are in the game of Mario Brothers, and Princess Peach is, and Mario is, you have all of the characters. Brother, how you? So all of these characters that are there, they all exist only because of the Most High creation. They only exist because of that. So they're given the option to disobey and go and play their part as King Koopa. All right, they play the part of the enemy. So yes, Ganesh is a part of God.
Yeah.
But like, he's on the other side, right? Oshun is on the other side. They're on the enemy side. And that, now the reason why all of this stuff is so convoluted is because they want to create confusion. If you're confused and you don't know which way to go, you don't know which way to go, you're not fulfilling on your purpose, you're not not getting the experience you want. And then, like, sending it up the chain, that positive energy, that positive experience, sending up the chain and also spreading it to others. Because they're just like, they're really disgruntled babies. That's what they are. They're like the office manager that just like, They want to be the boss, but they don't have the skills. They don't have the ability. But hey, I think I should run the company. Like, bro, you don't even know what the company is. Like, you don't really.
Sorry to laugh. Like, I get where you're coming from. Let me just give you an example of something that's worked for me. Right, I do the Ganesh mantra. I've done it for a long time, and I used to do it every day at the ocean. I used to live near the ocean, and what I started to notice was that if I'm in traffic and the traffic's not moving, and I don't have time to get from A to B, and I do the Ganesh mantra, the traffic moves.
It opens.
The traffic parts. It works every time.
Listen, Alexis, if it didn't work, nobody would be fooled by it.
Right.
If it did, like, it has to work. They don't lie fully. Every lie that they tell. You ever play that game, Two Truths and a Lie?
No.
Yeah, but it exists. Heard of it, right?
Yeah. I know.
The purpose of that is to teach us how to be like them.
Okay.
Why truths and a lie, not two lies and a truth? Because if it's two lies and a truth, then the person's going to be super skeptical about whatever is going on, and like, I don't want to believe. I'm not going to believe. Anything you say, I don't believe. But if you know that the things that I said is true, and then you can't figure out which one is the lie, then I got you. You're going to listen to me because, like, hey, they said this, and that's true. I know this to be true. They said this, and that's true. I know that to be true.
So if I acknowledge the Most High God in its essence, in its form, right, in its entirety, and I say, God, please open the way, remove this traffic, remove these obstacles from my path. Would it work in the same way?
Sometimes yes, and mostly no. And here's why there's a mostly no. Because usually we're not operating from our higher self when we're making these requests. Usually we're coming from our lower selves.
Okay.
Right? And so it's like you're coming from the baby self. You're coming from the ego, the id, right? The identity. That's what's usually in operation in the background all the time. So when you make a request, look at it like, if you've ever been around a child and a child says, will you please give me that cake? I want that candy, right? And the mom knows, look, you had a piece of candy before. You want teeth for the rest of your life, right? You want health. You don't really want cake and candy for dinner. That's not what you want, really, right? So God may not give it to you because you might be requesting something because he actually loves you. He's not going to give you that thing, unless you request multiple times, and then he'll give it to you, even though it's going to give you a negative experience, so that you can eventually master that negative experience and then not access it anymore.
That makes so much sense.
Right? He even says, like, it says in the Bible, if you ask of me, I will give it to you. But you got to be what you ask for.
Yeah.
Because he'll turn you away 3 times, but the 3rd time he might. Hey, look.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm going to change the subject just for a short time because I'm aware of time. I also want to say hi to DJ that's joined us and just ask how you're doing. How you doing?
I'm doing very good. I'm glad to see you guys again. It's been a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. You all good?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Cool. I want to ask you, Collins. Okay, so here's the question.
Yeah.
You spoke about your workshop that you're doing on polyamory. I want you to talk a little bit about that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we are doing a polyamory workshop. It's more like a relationship mastery workshop, right?
Can you talk a little bit about what your definition of polyamory is?
Yeah, we'll go to the basics. So what polyamory is, what it means, I should say, is many loves, right? Polyamory, many loves. It's the idea that human beings can love more than one person, right? It doesn't have to be the Disney version of your one and only, your one true love, and the only one person existence, your one twin flame, and all that stuff like that. It's like that can happen, but it's a limiting perspective on what possibility is, right? So polyamory it allows for the options for human beings to start creating the relationships in the ways that they want, creating the dynamics in the ways that they want, as opposed to just absorbing and going along with the status quo of what our tutelage in our societies may say. This is the right way to have a relationship. It doesn't really work for the majority of human beings. Not to say that monogamy is wrong, or polyamory is wrong, or polygamy is wrong. It's just that it doesn't necessarily work. There's a difference between right and wrong, and whether it works or doesn't work. Right? It doesn't work for most human beings, and monogamy is kind of an unnatural way of relating to other human beings, because our eyes don't just turn off. Our hearts don't just turn off when we engage with another human being. Right? We have this attachment phenomenon because we're in this finite, existence on Earth. And we're not finite in everything, but we're not finite in Earth. So we don't have to access finite possibilities of how to relate to each other. So we're just teaching people, if they want to learn more about how can I have a relationship that's not attachment based, that I could develop the skills to be able to have first one partner and then multiple partners, if that's something that you want to access, because it's just not, it doesn't work for most of us human beings.
Well, that's exactly what the question was that I wanted to ask you on this session, was that, I just wanted to open my heart to you and say, look, I have this one love, right?
Yeah.
I have this one love that I adore and I give my heart to, right?
Yeah.
And my idea of loving lots of people, is a great idea. However, my heart can't handle the hurt that come with opening up to other loves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And whether that means sex or not sex.
Yeah.
I don't think my heart can take it. I'm pretty sure that my heart couldn't take it. What do I do with that?
Well, the first thing is to look at the pain, right? One, I'll give the short version. The pain isn't real, right? The pain is a manifestation, an idea that's a projection from your childhood traumas. That's what it is. It's a creation, right? There's no pain going on there, right? It doesn't mean it's invalid. It's not real, right? So once we access that, then it's like, okay, well, if it's not real, it's a concept. And what concept am I adhering to that allows me to have this attachment to these other relationships that won't work out? Because remember, it's going on your mind is going on worst case scenario. You're not living into the possibility that you have all of these loves and all of these loves work out, right? We're looking at like, okay, I'm taking this precious, delicate thing and I'm going to share it with this one person. But if I share it with more people, well, I know most people aren't good. Most people aren't kind. Most people aren't sweet and loving and committed and dedicated. So I'm just heightening the probability of me losing my precious thing. That precious thing is infinite. Okay, that precious thing is not so precious as we think. It's valuable, but it's not precious as in it'll just break, right? And then you can't put it back together. Like our experience of heartache or heartbreak is an illusion. It's actually an illusion. We never lose our loved ones, even the ones that die. We don't lose them in the way that actually matters, which is on an experiential, spiritual plane, right? These are just manifestations. It's a video game. So now, while yes, in reality, most of us humans do not have the skills to have a great relationship with ourselves first. Mm-hmm. We're still stuck on that. Right?
I want to tell you something I heard today. Okay, I was talking with a friend of mine, and she was telling me about this word that I'd never heard of, about how, this idea of when you have sex with someone, your energy merges, and then, like, say that relationship ends, and then you have sex with somebody else, you take the energetic imprint of the first sexual encounter, which you hold in your cellular fluids and your energy, and you transfer it to the next partner, and it all stays within you. Yeah. Saying, like, say for instance, like a white woman has sex with a black man for the first time, right? On the first time, right?
Yeah.
And then that relationship dissolves.
Yeah.
And the second relationship that she has is with a white man, and she has sex with him and she gets pregnant, right? And they have the baby, and it's a black baby. Like, because it's like somehow remembered, like the energy is like remembered. Like, what is that?
What that phenomenon is it's residual energy and like shared energy. So it's kind of like if you are, let's say you have two gooey gelatinous things, right? And you smash them together, and then you separate them again. Say this one's red and say this one's blue, and you smash them together and they separate. There are going to be little particles of red on the blue, and there's going to be a little particle blue on the red, right? And so you have these little purple things, right? So yes, you do take parts of being, when you're with people. That's why you should also be very authentic, right? And integral about your connections that you do make, right? Like polyamory and all these poly things, and even what most of us practice, which is serial monogamy. We don't actually practice monogamy. We practice serial monogamy. We're with one partner, and then we're with one partner, and then we're with one partner, and then we're with one, and we do that over and over and over again. That's not monogamy. Monogamy in the natural world is I'm with one partner, and that partner dies, I'm with no partners for the rest of my life, right? And we don't do that. We don't project that onto people. But that idea wasn't created by nature. That idea was created by man, right? So there's a way to do it with integrity, though. And that's why we're like, yes, you can have polyamory, but again, first, you have to have integrity with the relationship with yourself. That's what we teach about, right? We teach about first, you have to have like integrity with yourself, right? Higher self. You have to actually know what that is to have integrity. Then you got to work on it and get good at it, right? You have that higher self relationship to this plane, and you're going back and forth, and you're good with that. You got your relationship to there, boom, you're solid within yourself. Then you can integrity share yourself with someone, right? And then once you master that ability to share with someone, then you can master the ability to share with multiple someones, and then multiple someones and multiple someones, right? Polyamory is not a get out of jail free card for having horrible relationship skills. That's why the basic things that we work on in the workshops are actual just relationship skills that are applicable to all types of forms of relationships. Also familial. Like it's not just romantic relationships, but we're not taught how to do this. We learn from family, we learn from our environment, but most of these people are broken people, teaching broken people, hurting people.
As a gay man, right? I'm a gay man, and I've been in situations with people that have been sitting in a cafe. I've been sitting in a cafe with them, and their partner is having sex with someone else, and they know it, right? They know it, and they're sitting in the cafe with me and a bunch of other people while their partner's having sex, and they've entered into an agreement where they're cool with it. But I can see in that person that they're hurting, like their heart is fucked up. Yeah,
because
twisted.
It's the turmoil that we have because of the ideas that we have. We're taught that in the very beginning it's wrong. We're taught that sex is wrong. We're taught that everything that we enjoy is wrong, right? And then, but that doesn't stop the wants. The wants are still there. There are authentic wants and inauthentic wants. The authentic wants are our spiritual wants. The inauthentic wants are our brain wants, our mind wants, our body wants, right? There are different wants that we have, right? And so that's why we're like, what do I want to do? Do I want to go to the gym or do I want to stay home? Well, you want both, but which one are you, right? Which one do you like? Are you really, right? Like there are authentic wants. There are also authentic, like inauthentic wants to go to the gym, right? There are inauthentic wants to be with this person. There's authentic wants to be with this person, and that's why the authenticity test is so important, because what it does is it gauges, like it gives you the opportunity to get some clarity and get out of the confusion of like, what do I want here? So that person that's in the cafeteria, that what they're feeling is inauthenticity. That's inauthenticity. That's not in line with what they authentically want. It doesn't mean that the person having other people or that person having that love or they're having sex or whatever they're doing is the inauthentic part. It's most likely their thoughts about that thing that's happening. It's not the reality. It's how they're saying, well, but I'm giving my love to this person. and they're taking it and sharing it with somebody else. It's mine, and they're giving it to somebody else, or I'm in danger. What if the other person loves them more, or they love the other person more, and then they leave me and I'm all alone. They are childlike level concerns that we carry throughout our life, and then we start listening to those things, but we don't listen to them with an authentic ear. We listen to
I think we are children. We haven't, like a lot of us, haven't reached that place where we are not children anymore.
Yeah, no, and we'll never reach the place where we're not children anymore. The thing is, we'll be able to acknowledge the childlike things as they are and say, okay, thank you for sharing, but I'm going to do something different now.
Okay, so take us once through, right, to close your segment, because we've gone over time. I take us one more time through the authenticity test and give us it, like, again, please.
Yeah. You authentically ask the question out loud. Ask it as if you don't know the answer. I recommend 3 warm-up questions before you actually ask the question that you want to know.
Can we do it right now? Can we do it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So if we all ask a question out loud, right? Yeah. Okay. So can I do it? Can I ask a question out loud? Is polyamory right for me?
Next step: actively listen. Right. So you're gonna ask again, and then you're actively listen as if you're tuning in. Right? Like you're tuning in. So ask one more time, and then listen.
Is polyamory right for me?
Okay, you're listening, but now everybody else here can feel that he's actually listening, right? So now, what did you hear?
I heard no.
Perfect. Now, the third step is to immediately state out loud. We don't want to think about it. That's the trash heap. That's where all your past is. That's where all your traumas are. We don't want to stay inside there, right? We want to immediately get it out using the word sound power. That's creation that gives us frequency, access to frequency, all right? So now, ask it again, actively listen, and state that answer out loud as soon as you hear it.
Is polyamory right for me? This time I heard 2. I heard 2.
No, now you're tapping in.
I heard no, yes.
Exactly. Now that's exactly what's going to happen. That's how the supercomputer works. It's going to go yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, 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 yes, 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 and no, because. It's going to tell you yes because this and no because that, right? It's dying in itself. It is like, oh no, if this being gets control, then it's going to start going after its wants, and wants are scary. They're going to die if you don't get them. It's better to just live a miserable life, a calculated miserable life, rather than a free life, right? Because it's scared. It's terrified of you going after what you want in life. So again, now you're going to ask, you're going to listen, and then you're going to state out loud. And what we're going to do is we're going to reflect on how it feels. The reason why you state it out loud, remember, again, because you have the yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. You got to get out of that trash. You state it out loud, right? And then we're going to check how it feels. The feeling is going to be gauged by this: positive or negative. It's not good. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's not bad. It's just, how do I feel? Positive or negative? Positive things are, for everybody to listen, calm, happiness, joy, smiling, right? Laughter, freedom, lightness. Negative is confused, angry, anxious, frustrated, worried, right? It's going to feel like one of those. It's a feeling, right? So go ahead.
Is polyamory right for me? And this time I heard no.
Okay, cool.
No. And there was a little bit more behind it.
Yeah, say no, and then tell me how it feels. So ask the question, listen, state no, and then tell me how it feels.
Is polyamory right for me? No. That feels good, actually. It feels good.
Perfect. All right. Now we do what we did in math. We check our work. So we do it 2 more times. We state the inverse the next time, because we got to get good at checking our polarity. Right? It's positive and negative. This is a new practice, right? So we're going to ask the question again, then you're going to state it out loud, the inverse. So you're going to say yes this time, and then you're going to tell me how it feels.
Okay. Is polyamory right for me? Yes.
How does that feel?
It feels a little uncomfortable in my heart. Like I feel a little kind of like squelchy. like a little uncomfortable,
Okay.
you know?
All right. Now you're going to do it one more time. You're going to state no.
Okay. Is polyamory right for me? No. I feel even. I feel even.
Okay. So the practice, what you and everybody out there is going to practice on, it's just you keep on doing that practice. Now, the best way to do it, again, is you warm up with questions that aren't, just you're not so attached to them. What you're talking about is like, do I redefine my current relationship that I'm in, right? You're starting with the big stuff, right?
Okay.
You good at the practice. So, ask questions that you already have had the experience of, because it's constant. That's the one great thing about God. He is constant. There's no changing in it. There's no flip-flopping. There's something that was great for you when you were a child is going to be great for you now, and unless you already achieved it, and then there's no want there that's there anymore.
I do want to say something. I just want to say that, like, polyamory in the form of like pure divine love, I'm 100% in it.
Yeah.
I love you. I love you. I love you, and I love everybody. Even the people I hate, I love them. Like on some level, I love them because I know that they're my teachers.
Yeah. It's just the concept you're good with, right? It's the practice, the application of the concept.
Yeah. If we're going into different territory, I don't know. I've got baggage.
Yeah, you got the bag, and that's where you got to deal with the baggage, right? It's so when you're in that space, because right now, right, polyamory may not be right for you.
Yeah.
Or ever. Okay.
Right.
But one of the things that we're not necessarily we don't have the time for it now, right? But I can come and we can expound on this again and more, and you can we can do sessions like separately if you like as well. Is that this concept, right? It is completely and 100% accurate every single time. The only thing that's going to throw it off is our listening, our obedience to it. So you can ask something like, hey, should I have gone to that store that I went to that got shot up, right? And then you're going to be like, your mind's going to be like, no, because it got shot up, right? But that could have been something that was purposeful for you. That could have been an opportunity for you to access some higher level of connection with another human being some other time that maybe they were in a mass shooting, and now you can connect with them. I was molested when I was a child. Should I have not been molested? No, I should have been molested. Why? Because every person that I've been able to help throughout my life, I was able to make an instant connection where others weren't, because I had gone through what they went through as well. Right. And so it's like weird barrier that we have as human beings. Well, if you didn't, suffer like I did, then I don't want to listen to you. Right. But I've been able to connect with people because of that. So on a global, universal scale, it was awesome for me to go through that, because when I came out of it, right, I came out of it unharmed, unscathed. And that's a possibility that everybody can have, but they don't think is possible. And they think that anybody that has done that, that hasn't had the experience and hasn't done that, it's not valid for them to be able to apply. Right. So every situation that we're in, we can always get answers. And so I recommend everybody, especially in this panel, whoever, practice that. Like, hey, should I drink this glass of water? Yes, no, yes, or no, yes, no. Ask it 3 times, right? Because we're not really great at it yet. And do it out loud. Don't do it in your head. Right? Maybe 10 years, you can master it. Do it in your head. 10 years. Give yourself 10 years. And then after, but important things, and you'll find out. Just look back in your life. You always knew, like when the devastating things happen, you always knew beforehand. You always knew something told you, and we didn't listen. This gets you good at listening to that voice.
It reminds me of something that I just quickly want to share with you, and then I'm going to ask you to wrap up your segment by thinking about something that you want to share with us before you close your segment. But I want to invite you to stay on for the rest of the session if you want to, because I would like you to. And what I wanted to share with you was this, is that it reminds me of the work of Louise Hay, which is something that I trained in, where she says, learn to do a short meditation before making decisions. You know, where you listen within, listen within, and you feel whether it's right for you. It's kind of like the same principle, right?
it's not kind of. It's the exact same principle.
It's the exact
right?
same principle.
The only thing that God gave me is the how-to. It's a 4-step how-to, right? And so it's like, that's a concept, right? Hey, be one with yourself. See yourself in others. Reflect, meditate. We pray. We get told these things, but we don't get told how to do it, right? And so we're like, okay, that's the concept. Now we got to feel ourselves around. It's the timing that we're in and the time of space that we're in now, with the most enlightened individuals, that's been on earth at the same time, the most awakened individuals that have been on the earth at the same time. When Jesus was here, it was only one. When Buddha was here, it was only one. When the first Buddha was here, it was only one, right? But now we have multiple awakened beings and different levels of enlightenment and awareness. So we have access to this, right? This is just like the simplest way that people can, like, what can I practice? How do I get good at this, meditating before and doing whatever? This is what gives you access to that. Just do those 4 steps. That's it. It's simple. If you're great at meditating, then meditate, right? But if you're not great at meditating, or you're at a stoplight and you don't know whether you should go ahead and make that left or that U-turn, go ahead and do this. Ask it, hey, should I make this U-turn? No. Okay, boom. And then you see a car come.
I got you. So, in closing, are there any is there anything in particular that you want to share about this? And I just want to say that, like, I realized that for some reason, for some people, polyamory is absolutely the way for them, and it's it's right for them. It's
not for everybody. It's not for everybody. I'll give this real simple explanation when it comes to that. Now I'll share that, and then I'll share the last thing that I want to share is. Most of us human beings should not be with be with anyone. We should be with ourselves and only ourselves. Get right with our higher self. Master ourselves, master our self-experience. Because what we end up doing is sharing traumas with each other, right? And we connect to each other out of trauma, and we have trauma bonds. And like, who can I be comfortable with being as messed up as me, right? And that's not the way that we're supposed to connect. We're supposed to connect as divine beings, sharing our awesomeness with each other, because we're all awesome. We're all fantastic. We're all perfectly imperfect. And, nobody's gonna, even if they kill you, it's not gonna kill you, right? So it's like, lighten up. We gotta lighten up, right? But we don't have relationship skills, right? We don't have relationship skills. We don't know conflict management. We don't know how to communicate with integrity. We don't know how to stop the projection of our own insecurities onto others. So we're a troubled species that should not be procreating for the majority of the part. And I mean, there's enough of us, right? And we also should not be connecting in these negative ways, right? That's number one. So most people should be single, right? Then some people should be, monogamous, right? And then there are others that can handle polyamory, right? I'm just giving access to, like, it's like the training course. Like, hey, these concepts that are in polyamory are needed in monogamous relationships. How do you deal with your jealousy? How do you deal with your insecurity? How do you deal with your projection of your own issues onto the other person? How do you communicate? It's just, if you aim for the stars, you might end up flying in the sky, right? So polyamory is one of those things where an individual, this is what the other majority scenario is there are going to be few individuals like myself, right? Or like, maybe your partner, who can access the ability to connect with multiple loves. And then there's more people that are like Queen or like you, right? Where it's just not good for them. Like, they have so many other things that they're up to. They don't have the ability to connect with all those people. But polyamory not being right for you doesn't mean that you don't have polyamory in your life. Polyamory might not be right for the individual that's monogamous, right? But they can now still have a great and healthy relationship with another person who happens to be polyamorous. There's that other connection. You don't have to be polyamorous, but you can allow your partner to be polyamorous, and allow is a stretch, because we're all, we don't really allow anybody to do anything, because we're all sovereign beings. But we give the illusion of allowing, right? But to be good with and supportive of your partners being polyamorous, because the reality is, if that person is poly and you're mono, you can still be connected to this poly, and this poly can be connected to others. If they know how to manage that well, then there are more relationships that can be in integrity with those types of connections. You could have 5 monogamous people with one polyamorous person, and that's a connection possibility that isn't present currently in the majority of our paradigms.
I'm going to be honest with you. Everything that you're saying is resonating as truth. However, I'm in flux with it. I'm in flux with it.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
It's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And the reason that I'm in flux with it is because I have a different model about trauma, and I follow a little bit the work of a therapist called Harville Hendricks. I don't know if you've heard of him, but what he talks about is how when your partner brings up something that's uncomfortable in you, then it's kind of like echoes of your early relationship for you to heal, something that you need to heal, right? And that's kind of like, it's slightly conflicting, but I know that in some way it probably doesn't conflict if I examine it in a deeper way.
Yeah, no, it doesn't conflict because let's say you have an issue with attachment because of something that happened in your past, and your partner is polyamorous, and that's going to bring up your attachment issues. And then in that space, that's something for you to heal. That's an opportunity for you to heal. But once you heal, there's so many possibilities on the other side of the healing. Maybe you continue the relationship with that person. Maybe you don't continue the relationship with that person. Maybe you have to go with somebody else. But the issue is the insecurities or the fears or the worries. That happens even in monogamous relationships, even in fully faithful monogamous relationships. Every woman that I was ever with, I had to deal with their jealousy and their fear. And I've only cheated twice. I've been with 20 serious relationships. I've been with over 100 women, but that, like, my actual connected, serious, valuable relationships, I've been in about 20 of them. I cheated twice. In all of them, I still had to deal with their insecurities. Their insecurities ruined our relationship.
Yeah, we definitely do project our fears. That's something that's very real, right?
Yeah. So if people wanted, like, again, you don't have to at the end of the conference or at the end of the thing become polyamorous. No, again, these are relationship skills that everyone could use and benefit in all the skills allow you to do it. But if people want to access it, the quick blurb is you go to shrtm.new/polyversity. Right. And I'm only teaching that in this one, but we're also teaching economic family. So how this type of benefit humanity for building communities. It's a lot easier to when you have multiple people, a community working together. It's hard, so I'm teaching how do we access difficult things. Or they can just email me at myrelationshipworks@gmail.com, myrelationshipworks@gmail.com. So that, if they have questions and want to do a consult, I do one-on-ones, I do family consults, I do business consults as well for people that are having, strifes in their business and they don't want the business to break down, but their relationship is going, strange, and they want to figure out how to work. So conflict resolution and communication, all these skills are important for any type of relationship. And we're just teaching them, and then also adding in people that want to be explore the idea of maybe if monogamy is not the only way or the only way for me, how do I do this thing? Because like you said, we don't have models for this. We don't have successful models. We don't have paradigms like that we see. Everything that we see, every movie that we watch, every book that we read, it's the two jilted lovers. It's a combatant thing. It's do I choose this or that? And nobody ever says, well, maybe we could have both. Maybe.
I'm going to have to stop you on that subject right now, but thank you so much. You've shared a lot, and I hope that you'll come back. I hope that you'll stay for the rest of the session. I know if you need to go, obviously, do whatever feels right for you. I want to give you both the opportunity to answer a question that I asked at the beginning of this session, which what gets you truly excited in life. Oh, Collins Peters, thank you so much for joining us on this session. And you're a beautiful soul. I see you, and I'm really grateful for you being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So I'm going to put the question to DJ, and then I'm going to come back to you on this question. And then I'm going to ask Anna to do her segment, because she's going to talk about the second chakra, which is kind of related to the topic, right? Of what we were talking about. But DJ, this is the question. What gets you truly excited about life? And I shared for myself, it's like exploring creativity, spirituality, food, nature, intimacy, and great art, and getting that sweet spot with art and like getting excited about that kind of creativity. What does it for you? What gets you truly excited about life?
Well, for me, basically, for music, that's what mostly gets me excited. And secondly, is bonding with others, socializing with others, and you know, and just to just to laugh, basically.
Yeah, that's so important, isn't it? Laughter is just the best.
Yeah, laughter is always the key.
Music too. Yeah, I feel you. Absolutely. Thank you. And also one of the reasons that I'm asking you this question is so that we can connect with the energy of feeling excited about life, because we so need to feel that, right? Okay, Collins, how about you? What gets you truly excited about life?
Well, one is the endless possibilities of it. That's an abstract thing. Just that everything is possible. Like, we could fly, we could teleport. Like, just the idea of like, ooh, man, when were we going to get to that point as a species where we can actually do the Jesus stuff like normal, like he said we can all do. Like he was like, yeah, the most special human being, but he told us we could do all the things and more. So there's stuff that we haven't even thought of. We can create our own universes. I mean, let alone the simple things that we have. And also spearfishing. I loved like being in the water, diving, free diving, doing like the death-defying stuff. I've bungee jumping. I did that, and that was so exciting. This is the second best experience that I had in life, next to meeting God. Skydiving. I want to skydive. All this fun stuff that really gets you out of your body, fear responses, and just like into the experience of it, and making a difference. Like, I don't like helping people, and the work that I do, it's a labor of love. But when I make a difference at the end of that, right? I'm not attached to the end, but when like somebody had no possibility in this space, and without that assistance, they weren't going to get out of it, and then I was able to be an instrument, and contribute, like that excites me. Actually, when a cousin of mine was going to kill themselves, and because we talked, they're not going to kill themselves anymore. A relationship that was going to break up, this family was not going to work. There was infidelity, and now it works. It's so exciting, because the stories change. They are what they were always meant to be, but they change for the experience. But yeah,
very cool. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, there's something in the chat. I just want to read it. Agape. That's beautiful. There's a place in LA called Agape, run by Reverend Michael Beckwith. I go there whenever I'm in LA. I love it, and his wife sings. And I want to go as many times as possible. If I could live in LA, I would go all the time. That was awesome. Thank you. So Anna, was there any thoughts that brought up? I know that you shared earlier about what brings great joy for you. Was there anything else that came up?
No. Yeah, I had said what I said before about exploration, discovery of new things, and doing it alone. It resonated a lot about like, you got to get right with yourself. And it's good to be single, because really your best relationship is with yourself. And so when I was answering that question earlier, I was thinking a lot about, all the travel I've done alone and how exhilarating it is, just positively exhilarating, because there's this feeling of just endless freedom and possibility, you're and discovery and excitement. So yeah.
You brought up something for me when you were talking there about like how fearful I have been in my life about being on my own. I think I have abandonment issues. Well, I
Oh, okay. Yeah, well.
uh,
Yeah.
that Paul, who does inner child work, isn't with us tonight. So, Paul, if you're watching this, we need you. My inner child,
Yeah.
where are you?
I miss him tonight.
I know, me too. Um, so, please tell us about the second
Well,
chakra.
it's not so much I want to tell. I just wanted
Well,
to do a little. I don't know what I mean. I always come out here. I never really know what I'm going to do until I do it. So, but I definitely was. I was being guided to look at the second chakra today. So, but we were talking about it a little bit before, and I mean, I'm sure everybody knows this, but it has to do with emotions, creativity, sexuality, and all of that stuff. And the element associated with that is water. And the color associated with it is orange. And so our second chakra is located sort of just below the navel. Okay. And I know for me, it's this place from which, well, it's like my inner compass. Like I literally can feel it being pulled in certain directions. Like my higher self knows, like, go here, do this, and I can actually feel it. So if you're, connected enough to it, it could really be the seat of your intuition, right?
Is that to go with your gut? Is that where that comes
I
from?
think it comes, I mean, it's not actually the gut, it's below the gut, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm just going to keep it really simple tonight, and I'm just going to invite everyone to close their eyes. And just take a few breaths. Few just deep breaths to just sort of center yourself. Because we've been thinking a lot tonight about all of these ideas that Colin's presented us with. And I know like my head is very active right now, so I want to quiet the mind a little. And I'm going to ask you to bring your awareness to your second chakra, which is located just below the navel. And notice what you notice. You feel anything? Do you feel energy moving there? Or maybe do you not feel anything moving there? Does it feel stuck? Does it feel blocked? Because a lot of us walk around very, very disconnected from our emotions. And those of us, as I was saying earlier, who are, very spiritual, quote unquote, we tend to live in our higher chakras, very disconnected from our lower chakras, which are equally important because we like to live up there, disconnected. But we need to be here. We need to be in our bodies on this earth in order for us to live our lives to the fullest. We need to be in our bodies. We need to feel. We need to feel what we feel and to allow those emotions. So bringing our awareness, keeping our awareness there, I'd like you to visualize that a glowing ball of beautiful orange light is coming towards that chakra. And it merges with it. It's a beautiful orange color, swirling ball of light. And as it enters into that chakra, it begins to spin, cleaning it out, clearing out any blockages to creativity, expression. This chakra is also very closely connected with our expression. Even though that's the throat, it's also here. How do we express what's in our souls for our creations? Allowing this light to be ever growing in brightness and intensity, radiating outwards from that chakra. And I'm seeing, it's interesting because you're all men. This is very cool, actually. I'm very much enjoying being with just men tonight. It's nice. What I'm seeing is some little bits of old energy, and I'm seeing them actually as like black sperm, but this is just symbolic. So this is just kind of old sort of, I don't know, some kind of old sexual energy, maybe from old partners that we've taken on. And I'm just going to clear that out with your permission. Oof. All this old energy that we don't need, that's not serving us. It's nothing to do with us anymore. We don't need it. And any cords from that, let's remove those. Sending them back. Sending them out to the universe just to be transmuted. Oh. So allowing that orange light to continue to glow and spin and clean out. I'm seeing something right in the navel, something that needs to be removed. So let's remove that. It's like bad seeds. That's what I'm hearing. Like seeds that were planted that do not serve us, that have been invading our consciousness and our belief systems. Good. And then this orange light begins to diminish in intensity. Getting smaller and just becoming just a more manageable size so that we can go about the rest of our days or evenings in a comfortable way. And now bringing our awareness to our heart centers. Resting there. Let's just stay there because this is the place that can help steer our ship. If you've got your second chakra in your heart steering you, and they're both clear and clear, clean and clear, then you can listen better for those answers that Collins was talking about when he asked these questions. So coming back, maybe shake your hands, wiggle your, look at your butt. And that's it. That was different.
Beautiful, Anna. Thank you so much. Anna has a website called Integrated Soul Healing.
Yeah, my website, I'm redoing it, but my business is called, my modality is Integrated Soul Healing. And I've got a Facebook page. My website is actually Anna Pavlaka's blog.wordpress.com.
Thank you, Anna. That was powerful. And thank you, Collins, as well. I want to tell you that, all of your shares and everything that everybody shared, and particularly that meditation that we just did on the sacral chakra, it made me realize something, that my chakra system in general is blocked, and I need to do chakra clearing work every day.
And you need to come to my event.
On Sunday, right?
Sunday, yeah.
I'm singing
I
all
know.
day with my choir.
I know.
I sing in a gospel choir, and I'm going to be getting home after you start, so it'll be like in the middle of it. But if I can join in the middle of it, am I allowed to?
It's going to be, I think, a Facebook Live, so
Right.
But I'll probably do it again. I don't know, or maybe I could do it on Sacred Segments sometime. I'm just like,
yes, please.
I was guided to just offer this as a free thing.
Well, I'm going to be very honest with you guys, all of you, and like openly share my heart, even knowing that other people are going to be watching this. And I, in the past, have felt very, very sexually blocked, in terms of. There have been instances, and I was raped when I was younger, and I had an experience that I felt like I put myself in it, but I from that kind of trauma, I came out of it feeling at times, like during sex, that I was like completely disconnected from my body. And
disassociate.
Yeah. And that meditation helped me realize how disconnected I am from like my sexual organs and just my sex center, and like just myself as a sexual being.
Yeah.
I feel completely disconnected from it. Yeah. And I carry a lot of shame and guilt, and
I have an idea.
Go for it.
We should do like a 7-week or 7 like sacred segments, I don't know, or something. It doesn't have to be sacred segments, on one chakra for each meeting or whatever. Yeah. We just work on each one, starting at the bottom.
Let's do it.
I mean, I could use it too, God knows,
we all...
I try to practice what I preach and try to walk the walk, but I'm human.
Yeah, so I mean, I like to be authentic as possible. Perhaps it's an overshare, and I like to be a facilitator of healing. And I always feel that people are reflections, and as I heal, other people heal. And it's a two-way street. Like when I'm teaching singing to somebody, I learn so much. And it happens with everything in life, right? But I want to invite you to just share something that's going on in your life, and just shine a light on it. Starting with you, DJ, if you want to, don't feel pressured. If you want to share something, go for it. Is there something going on in your life that you want to share? Take 2 minutes and talk about it if you want to.
Nope.
No.
No, I don't think I have anything that I can share at the moment.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, um, your story,
Well,
experience?
um, well, I know, like, I think you already mentioned, I think I mentioned it earlier, but a couple of years ago, I was recovering from brain surgery, and it's been like, I think it's 2022. So it's been like 4 years since I was recovered from it. And it took me a long while just to get everything back together as far as drawing and, you know, learning how to do active activities. And it's a lot to, you know, get back to due to my memories. So, and it's finally coming back together just to it's like getting all the missing pieces together, you know, just gotta find which piece is missing. And it's like a puzzle, you know, find the right pieces and getting them all together and make sure it's the right size. So it's that piece that's missing. So find that piece, it'll just come back together. Same as my brain, you know, connect the dots, for example.
And you draw. You do
I
art.
do.
Wow,
Yeah.
cool. What do you draw?
well, well, for me, I'm always a Sonic fan and a Dragon Ball Z fan, so I'm good at drawing those two.
I'm really glad that you have found your creativity and found a way to express it. And that's really cool. I'm glad that you're on the path of recovery as well. It's great to see you, DJ.
Great to see you too, Alexis. And you too, Anna. And I know I met you, so it's good seeing you as well.
Cool, cool. Thank you, DJ. Um, Collins, do you have something to share that you'd like to share?
Sure. I'm just I would like to share that my experience being alive now, it's so cool. I wish everybody could experience it. Because we're alive in a really cool time in history. We're alive in the writings of the history books. So like the times that are being foretold, it's really cool. And it's weird. Like I remember reading like Lord of the Rings and stuff with my dad as a kid, and I was like, man, how cool would it have been to be alive when dragons were around and all this stuff like that, right? But we're literally alive like in the days of Revelations and the technology that we have. So it's just really cool, the experiences that we get now. That is, I was like, man, if I had to, people have, human beings, I should say, have a tendency to like reminisce about childhood. It's like, oh man, the good old days. I'm like, man, if I had to go back, I wouldn't have as much fun as I do now. You know what I mean? Like we have VR systems. You know, we could punch people virtually in boxing games in our living rooms. You know, it's a really cool time to be alive. Even though it may seem like crazy because of all of the random stuff that's going on in the world, but the stuff has always been crazy. I think things are just cooler now. So my experience with life is that being the observer, living that observer lifestyle. It's so freeing, especially from a person that, as a kid, you know, I didn't want to be here. I really didn't want to be here. Like I didn't want to kill myself, but I wanted to somehow access being dead. You know, I was like, I don't want to be here. I want to go to there's got to be someplace better than this. But now to see how awesome the world is in all of its complexities and all the craziness, it's a really cool experience to have. I want everybody to have it. It's like, damn, this is a dope universe, man. Like we literally can do anything that we want. Like we can, you know, and it's cool playing that game of like, what can I do? What should I do? You know, because like, what do I want to do? Because there's a lot of things that I may want to do. I might want to wipe all human beings off and start from scratch with like 0 humans, right? Should I do it? Probably not, right? So it's a good thing I'm not God. I'm just part of God, because my brain is way too critical for humanity. But I'm glad I'm not my brain anymore. I just get to access it and stuff like that, and it does what it's supposed to do, and I don't let it do the things that it's not supposed to do, which is like make decisions. It doesn't get to make decisions. But yeah, it's just a cool experience being alive. I think a lot of people are like struggling today because we have for the majority of us, we have a really easy life. You know, like if we're not worried about food and water, you got a pretty easy life. You know, if your worry is childhood trauma, that's a blessing. You know, if your worry is not like, am I going to get eaten, you know, or killed, you know, or where am I going to find food or water that's not going to kill me, you're living a really privileged and awesome life. So tap into that, man. Like tap into it, because it's our problems aren't like, these are such small problems, and it's a blessing that we have such small problems. It's a blessing.
I love your positive attitude. It's amazing. And you know, despite you wanting to kill everyone, it's it's pretty cool. No, I have those thoughts too. But like, oh god, it would be great if like just like there'd be no people on the road. You know, the Illuminati have it right. Get rid of everyone.
The only disagreement I have between Bill Gates and Illuminati is the who. Like, who gets to survive? Right? It should be just be people that are on kindness.
Cool ones.
So let those 5 people, if it's only 5, let those 5 people that are on love and connection, you know, let them rock out. Not just who's rich. You know, their thing is like, hey, anybody who's poor, they can die. I was like, no, man. Like, hey, if you're rich and kind, then you can live too. But just, you know, those two things usually don't go together.
Like, you know, I'm joking, but I mean, there's a seed of truth in what I'm saying. And, you know, there's this theory that only the people that have raised their vibration enough, well, it's not a theory, it's like what's being channeled, it's what's being preached in certain metaphysical circles. It's like we as a species have to raise our vibration to withstand what's coming. And if we don't do it, we're gone. We're going to a different planet.
It's coming. We are in the end days, man. Like, you know, how everybody's been saying it in the 1900s and the 1800s and 1700s, but like with the 1500s with the Black Plague, stuff like that. Like, oh, we're in the end days. Nah, like all of the stuff that like the Revelations talks about, like it's happening now. It's literally
for real.
And that frequency, when the culling comes, because we got to do a reset. We're due for a reset as humanity. If you're not on that frequency, then you shouldn't be here. That's all. You know.
You know, we gotta learn love. We gotta learn self-love. We gotta learn to love each other.
Yeah, man.
You know, fuck the rest of the shit.
Yeah. Life got its own issues, man, but you don't gotta perpetuate the same stuff onto the next person. If you are hurt, don't hurt somebody. Like, that's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. If you're hurt, don't hurt somebody. If you don't like that thing being done to you, don't do that to somebody else. That's it.
Right.
All extra words in the Bible are just there, like, or in these teachings or wherever the heck you're getting your information from. They're only there to give context to the core idea. And the core idea is like, look, if you don't want to be punched in the face, don't punch somebody in the face. Don't use the punch in the face that you got punched in the face as an excuse to punch somebody else in the face. That's it. Somebody got to stop it, because we all got punches.
Yeah.
So somebody got to.
You got to heal.
Yeah, man. Just let it be you. That's all.
Anna, do you have something that you want to share?
About anything in particular? Well, I've been thinking a lot recently about connections with people.
Someone joining us, just to let you know.
Oh, wow. So, what's that?
I'm not quite sure who it is. I'm going to let them in. And
Smith County? What's that all about? I don't know what that's all about.
I know.
So I don't know. What is it that I want to say? I don't even know. It was Well, where I'm living, I'm very, very isolated. I'm living in this tiny little village. The girl from New York City is living in a tiny little village, and I have no social life, and I'm not connecting with people. So I've been feeling kind of blocked in terms of my, interrelations with people. I mean, it's pretty much all on the internet, and it's been a bit frustrating. I've been feeling like things have been constricting me. So this is just what I'm sort of starting to understand, is to do more of this inner work that we were talking about tonight, about like working on the chakras and our relationships with ourself and all of that. Because Alexis, I've been single like forever. And I've enjoyed it very much, and I know it was very, very necessary, but I feel like, okay, now I need to learn through relationship, because I think that is a great way to learn, as long as we were saying, you don't bring in all your wounding and your crap into it. So yeah, it's just something that's been on my mind lately. That's it. That's all I want to say. That I'm tired, actually, and I need to get going.
That's interesting. Thank you for sharing, Anna. Jasper, I just wanted to say hi and thank you for joining us. I think I know who you are. I think we met once before. Are you there? Do you want to say hi? If you're at work, he says, sorry I'm late, busy at work, normally use my private account. Yes, can't talk. No worries. I think we met before and just want to say hi. And we recorded tonight, just so you know, and you'll be able to watch it. I'm going to post it on my YouTube channel, which is Alexis Constantinou, OU at the end. So I think that I'm going to close this session a little bit early, but before we do, I'm going to ask you to share two things, okay? Very short, very quick, very short. And one of them is something that you are grateful for. And the second one is it's temporarily gone, but it's going to come back to me. So just first of all, say, let's talk about, oh yes, it's come back to me. The power word, a power word, right? So a word that represents an energy that you would like to connect with. Okay? Just one word. So I'll start, and what I'm grateful for is today I was in an advert. I was rehearsing for a TV commercial, which I'm filming next Friday. So I'm grateful for that experience. And my power word is, I'm actually going to be a little greedy and take two. And I'm going to say new energy. New energy. That's what I would like to connect with, new energy. So that's me. Jasper, get ready to type. Think about it. If you want to share, go ahead, Collins.
I'm grateful for my connection with the Most High. Lost without that. Just left to my own devices. And it's hard trying to think your way through problems that seem connected to my power word, which is infinite. Right? Infinite was usually a negative connotation to me. I was like, it's just infinite horribleness just throughout history and for my life, and then all after it's just gonna be crap, right? But now it's infinite possibility. So infinite would be my power word.
Beautiful. And how interesting that Jasper has the symbol for infinity there. That's very synchronous.
Awesome.
And he says, I'm grateful for my increasing growth, ever expanding. Beautiful. Thank you, Jasper. And your word is neat, right? Cool. Thank you, Jasper. Okay, I'm going to ask. Oh, expanding. No worries. Thank you. Expanding. Cool. I'm just connecting with that myself. DJ, what are you grateful for?
You made it.
Well, what am I grateful for? So that's a good one. Well, I'm grateful that I'm catching on with a lot of certain things, like drawing, for example, like him had said. And I'm grateful that getting I'm helping my mom getting the house together. And I'm grateful that I still got a love in my life. And the power word that I'm gonna use is my guide, like like guiding something. Yeah, so that's my word. Still there?
Alexis, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. I just said thank you, DJ. I thought that was beautiful, and I love your power guide. Very cool. Thank you, Anna. You go if you want to.
Sure. So I'm actually going to do it the other way around. The power word is connection. And I'm grateful for my connection with my higher self, my connection with my true self, my sovereign soul, and my connection with all that is. Yeah. And my connection with all of you.
Likewise, thank you. In closing, I want to just remember all the people in our lives that we want to send energy to, that we want to send healing to, including the planet, including the trees and the animals, and the whole of creation. And I just want to do a very short visualization and then send out some energy to the world as a whole and to the whole of creation, and just to give gratitude to the creator, to the all that is. So let's just close our eyes for a minute, take 3 deep breaths. And as we do so, start to visualize a beautiful pink vibration that represents love coming down from space and coming down behind our spine, which is the essence of love, and curl it underneath your spine and bring it up to the front of the body, to the very top of your head, and then curl it round a second time. Keep breathing deeply. So you're seated in a double loop of this pink energy, which represents love. Bring it down the base of the spine a second time and underneath the body, and curl it up to the front of the head. So you're seated in this double loop of beautiful pink, soft baby pink energy, which is a love vibration. Now detach from that. Once you've visualized it, take your 3rd deep breath if you haven't done already. And think down to the Mother Earth and request her beautiful violet flame of transmutation and protection in its female energy. The Mother Earth is a living, breathing, conscious being. Let's give her our gratitude, and with humility, request and visualize the violet flame of transmutation and protection coming up through us and through the whole earth, transmuting all lower frequencies on this planet. And let's visualize it as high as we can into space, burning all the lower frequencies in our energetic bodies and through the earth as a whole. In gratitude, seeing through this beautiful violet, transmuting psychic fire, burning all the lower frequencies, transmuting them into the highest possible frequency. And then detaching momentarily from this and visualizing high into space and asking Divine Father God, the all that is, for its white light of pure, all colors, visualizing this like a spotlight coming down through our brain, filling our brain with this beautiful white energy, scintillating, holding every single color in its vibration, charging our brains down into the heart and down into the solar plexus, down into the feet, and then connecting once again with the violet flame and bringing that up through the white light so that we're seated in a double column of violet energy coming up, white light coming down, just sitting in these beautiful energies for a moment, and then raising the hands and through the heart, send out love through your palms, to anybody that needs it. And then when you finish, just in gratitude, seal your palms, like by crossing them one against the other. And just thank you for your attendance. Thank you for being here. I'm really grateful for all of you. We've lost Collins. I hope it wasn't the experience that he felt didn't sit with him right, but I'm going to reach out to him by message. And thank you, everyone. I felt it was really powerful and beautiful. I'm really grateful for all of you. And if there's anything you want to say in closing, please do so. No? We're all good? Hello, and lots of love, and see you soon. Have a good evening. Bye.